Greetings. Welcome to EDTV News Channel, the People's Channel. In this report, we have a few stories for talk about, some shootings and some dropouts coming out of the parish of St. Andrew, Manchester, St. Catherine, and Hanover. Stay tuned for the full reports. Blessings to all subscribers and viewers. If you're here for the first time, you can support the channel by like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. So we'll start off in the parish of St. Andrew, where a decorator was shot and taken out in retaliation for an acid attack in half a tree on two women. So we'll get into the latest police report. A decorator was shot and taken out late Wednesday evening along Delamere Avenue in St. Andrew in what investigators theorize could be retaliation for an acid attack on women at the Pavilion Mall in half a tree earlier that day. The deceased has been identified as 43-year-old Mohan Grant. Reports from the police are that about 11:10 p.m. Grant was driving his motorcycle when, on reaching an intersection, a black car drove up and men opened gunfire, hitting him all over his body. He dropped out on the spot. The police say they are pursuing all possible leads and are asking anyone with information to come forward. At around 1 p.m. on Wednesday, two women were injured in an acid attack when two men rode a motorcycle to the Pavilion Mall, made their way to the second floor, entered an establishment and threw a corrosive substance which caught the women. According to reports, the attackers ran from the establishment and were challenged by a security guard who discharged his firearm in their direction. The news media understand that the female, who was reportedly the intended target, remains in hospital in serious condition as she suffers severe burns from her head down. Senior police sources noted that Grant could have been targeted because a relative of his is suspected to have committed the attack. Investigations are ongoing in both incidents. Now, people will move on. This time to the parish of Manchester. Davy 6 gunned down in Mandeville. So we'll get into the latest report. A man was shot and taken out inside Caledonia Courts Plaza in Mandeville on Wednesday night. The deceased has been identified by his alias Davy 6. Reports are that about 10:50 p.m. Davy went inside the plaza to shop. Upon exiting the building, he was approached and shot in the upper body head area multiple times while going down the staircase. He dropped out on the spot. Davy is known to be affiliated with the Six Camp led by dancehall artist Squash. Squash has been trending with his #1 hit song Big Breeze and his newest release Shubout, which is now the #1 trending spot on YouTube. No motive for the dropout has been established. Now we'll move on, people, this time to the troubled parish of Hanover, which is currently under curfew. So we'll get into the latest reports. Billy gunned down in Green Island. A 21-year-old man was shot and taken out inside his home in Fish River, Green Island, Hanover on Tuesday night. He has now been identified as Alike Morris, otherwise called Billy of Fish River District in Green Island. Reports are that around 10 p.m. Morris was at home when two men forced their way inside his two-apartment board dwelling and held him at gunpoint. The men then forced him to kneel down and open gunfire, hitting him multiple times in the upper body head area. They made their escape on his Cobra motorcycle from the community. The police were summoned, and upon arrival, Morris was found lying at a pool of Redwater with multiple gunshot wounds. He was transported to the hospital where he was pronounced you-know-what upon arrival. Now people will move on, but still in the troubled parish of Hanover. Indian gunned down in Orange Bay. The Green Island police in Hanover have begun investigating the shooting dropout of a man in Orange Bay Square on Tuesday. The victim has been identified as 33-year-old David Ken, otherwise known as Indian, originally from St. James but residing in Hanover at the time of his dropout. Reports indicate that around 10:30 a.m., Ken was sitting in his motor car near a car wash along the Orange Bay Main Road when two armed men with handguns approached on a motorcycle. The assailant opened gunfire, hitting Ken multiple times before fleeing the scene on the motorcycle. The Green Island police were summoned, and upon arrival, they found Ken lying in a vehicle in a pool of red water with multiple gunshot wounds to the upper body head area. The scene was processed and the body was removed to the morgue for a post-mortem examination. Now, people, we'll move on. Last but not least, Indicom probing two police fatal shooting in Hanover and St. Catherine. The Independent Commission of Investigation, Indicom, is probing two separate fatal shooting incidents involving the police on Thursday in St. Catherine and Hanover. The deceased men have been identified as 23-year-old Mark Lewis and 23-year-old Jermaine Campbell. Indicom says the police report that a joint police and military operation was being conducted in the Africa area of Old Harbour, St. Catherine, when officers proceeded to a house on Burke Road. The officers allegedly entered the house and Lewis pointed a firearm in their direction. One officer reportedly fired at Lewis, who was injured and taken to the hospital where he was pronounced you-know-what. The second fatal shooting incident occurred in Kendall District, Green Island in Hanover. It is reported that a surveillance team was on patrol when Campbell was observed behaving suspiciously. Campbell is reported to have fired at the officers who returned fire at him, resulting in gunshot injuries. He was later pronounced you-know-what at hospital. The police say a firearm was recovered from each incident. Indicom says the scenes were examined, processed, and evidential materials recovered. The hands of the deceased men were swabbed for DNA testing and their bodies were photographed and sealed pending post-mortem examination. Year to date, 85 people have been shot and taken out by the security forces, of which 10 occurred in July. So there you have it, people. Please leave your comments in the comment section and tell me what you think. One aim, one God, one destiny. Walk good, talk good, live good. Blessings.